talk delivered in August 2004 on the occasion of the seminar, This and That Have Gone Now, printed in Bodhyanti Parasparam, Volume 3, Chapter 17.
Master in his message, I think everyone has said it, I also written this from my own point of view. Master in his message on the Basanth Panchami 1982 said, we are all brethren connected intellectually, morally and spiritually, the main goal of human life. This and that have gone now. There remains purity alone in all his work and the environment, which reveals the destiny of the persons with the ultimate. Later in August 1982 in Paris, he made the statement that cooperation is the way of, is the life of coming events also, and if they are wavering, they will be wasting power. We are united in a common cause, keeping towards the proper order, the good of man and humanity. Earlier in 1981 he said, there is no question of separation. We are all coming closer and closer. This is a message to all. All these statements, the call of the Master to work in unison and cooperation is stressed. This iham and that param, that is this world and the other world, is one meaning we can read into this subject. Or we may take it to mean me and not me, as the theme suggests. Or we may take the cooperation of the individual with the divine that we consider as the purpose. With all these aspects, we can take the messages and try to live a life of cooperation. This is what the earlier messages dealt with, earlier speakers have dealt with. The feeling of separateness that makes the concept of this and that relevant itself is a matter of concern for a sadhaka in the spiritual life. This theme was stressed by Dr. Yaji. I feel I am seeing the world during the meditation and during the day from my angle of awareness. Day in and day out, the divinely human incarnation me processes takes me to a place where that sees all humanity dancing on top of the world. I also helplessly perceive so much of what we are in meditation and are saying and doing as moments in transition to deeper levels of understanding. There are realities of our existence and relationships. This has been more so while working on others as a trainer. It has never been all that comfortable to work on the aspirants. I remember Master telling me that one of the primary signs that we are really doing our work is the part of us who wants to quit this service. That is what happens when we live and move in other person's karmic effects. Many a trainer has been telling this, and more so when they were also involved in matters of some interpersonal conflicts. There are occasions when the trainers said that they were having an uncomfortable experience of having to frequently wake up while giving sitting, and they wanted to leave the work. In the work that we do as a trainer, one of the signs of the genuineness is a part of us that frequently screams inwardly to get out of the situation. If this is considered as an evidence of lack of integration in our being, we need to examine further. We know that we are all amalgams of so many sheets or parts of being, and many of the posters never wanted anything like what we call awakening or realization to begin with. I do not mean to say that we are all schizophrenics, nor the aspirants belong to that category. During introduction, we attend to the diversion of flow towards the true nature of one's being, that is, we make him born again, this time into the higher nature of oneself. There is another birth. So several births will take. There is one birth. Whether or not he or she is awake in what we call the second birth, each person has a natural identity. It is not only latently divine as well as human, but also has the fragments of all kinds of sub-identities and frequencies of selfness that does not move in compatible manner in a frequency to the persona that we prefer to display to the rest of the world and to ourselves. This problem needs to be well understood to work on others in spiritual life, in a spirit of cooperation and fraternal bond. So, if anyone feels the work as disturbing, please know that no one who has entered this field has felt it otherwise. Scavenging is no good, unpleasant job. Master said, he never felt bad to do that, even as he has written somewhere. For me, this work has made me aware of two sides. The working on others has showed me both my passionate dedication and weary preparedness. I accept both, and I am comfortable to be aware of and acknowledge, accept, welcome, forgive, and honor that part of myself which wants to run away from the task. It is natural, it is real. I am reminded of some of my Guru Bhais who expressed their anguish to work on others when they were due to come for individual sitting, saying, how I wish he does not turn up. I have had such feelings myself several times when I found that even while preparing to work, the nausea is experienced deep within me. How strongly we feel these impulses may vary, but they are always there, appearing in the natural rhythm of our lives. Cooperation is the way of things to come, as Master said. Cooperation in such circumstances, as stated above, is really demanding and challenging. The concept of Babuji that I have been talking about since inception of the ISRC will have no meaning if the difference between this and that is maintained. I agree that during the decade and more, the work done in ISRC was necessarily generated by the processes started by my humble self for quite some time. I was the sole bearer of the principle of wavering. It was a heavy load to carry alone, especially since by its very nature it must belong to many to be both actual and true. I do hope that my feelings are felt in the hearts of the aspirants and co-travelers in the path. I have often told many persons that if I remain the sole holder of the vision, that's all it could ever be. It could ever be a vision. We hope that may be possible, but not yet something actual, something real, the potent realm of relatedness between and among ourselves. If I were to be the only one talking about Divinity Parasparam, it's an oxymoron and really a lie. But until others could walk, tread and crawl far enough with me to find their swaying and airless, breathless, still nostril atmosphere with their eyes clear and their hearts consistently radiant, I have promises to keep. My request to those who are blessed with the conditions of the higher regions in spirituality during meditations to honor the same and live according to their status, that is to work with comfort, with confidence and courage, with the knowledge of the condescending divine support, and ignoring our own petty lapses has been yielding results of sorts. It is over 3 decades since my swimming in the dry desert started, and my efforts to bring a few to the shores of the ocean have but partially succeeded. I consider the main reason for this is that they want this to be totally eradicated and that alone to be seen. This is a fixation and a notion based on the imaginary ideas of realization. It should be understood that this as well as that are in their true nature not different. This is the law of life, while positive and negative always maintain a balance. The physical balance and the theme of Yin-Yang, Shakti, Shiva, Sri, Narayana are all the ways in which this dual nature of reality was well explained. During the years of the SRC, I had to be the primary flag bearer for the process we are embracing together. It is odd that this is a one-way embrace. How odd it is to conceive the divine love for us and his embrace one-sided. However, things are not that bad. In many ways, things are changing and continue to do so. I think all this has necessary transition from being a leader-centered process to being a sun-centered one. We are all aware that the plea to all is not just to look at the sun above, but endeavor to be suns on our own right, burning, bringing name and fame to the great sun that is born in the horizons of spirituality, the great master, Sri Ramchandraji Maharaj of Shahjahanpur. The sons out of that great sun become sons. What a splendorous world we will have. I have been studying the development of various kinds of organizations, and more particularly the spiritual and religious organizations. The cryptic statement of the famous philosopher G.P. Krishnamurti that all institutions have a natural tendency to get corrupted made me feel that this is perhaps the truth. The great religions of the world, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Judaism, Christianity and Islam, and many more that I barely know and understand, are all good if we study the scriptures and value them spiritually. But the institutions that propagate the same have been variedly developed curvatures and turns and twists that made me feel that no institution, having however much carefully drafted constitution, will escape this fate. God is real, but temples, churches and mosques and synagogues are not. If spirituality, pure and simple, has to be propagated, we should first get rid of the golden shackles of the holy and holier than thine institutions. My master's organization too, I found to be suffering from the ills of any other organization. The whole problem lies in a system of hierarchy, of some being more equal among equals, if I may put it so. Leadership is a problem in spirituality. Where all the children of God, where all are children of God, somehow there appears on the scene the Son of God, and there are many sons of God as there are religions and cults, and surprisingly no daughters, who keeps his unique place of importance. After all the progress humanity made, there is still the sheep and lamb, with its gregarious instinct in us, and majority of human beings seem to be happier to be sheep and lambs than lions and lionesses. The founder of any system, by virtue of his genuine eagerness to share and spread the understanding and the way found by him, often makes a choice amongst his followers to be the best suited to continue the tradition. Once such a choice is made, that chosen disciple somehow becomes more superior to others, who are also well informed and enlightened. It is impossible to have more than one authority without sacrificing the efficiency of the system. The hierarchy is the outcome, and to destroy the ladder is the first game that starts simultaneously. Mutuality and cooperation is the first casualty, and togetherness is gone forever. Lord Buddha's parting words are, "You should respect each other, follow my teachings, and refrain from disputes. You should not, like water and oil, repel each other, but should, like milk and water, mingle together, study together, learn together, practice my teachings together. Do not waste your mind and time in idleness and quarreling. Enjoy the blossoms of enlightenment in their season, and harvest the fruit of the right path. The teaching which I have given you, I gain by following the path myself. You should follow these teachings and conform to their spirit on every occasion. Similar words from other founders of the various paths of divinity are there. Yet the fact remains there is more conflict and ill will than cooperation and goodwill amongst the followers of any path. The melody is only in the positions according to hierarchy. It struck me that we should avoid that trap and move always in a spirit of cooperation. Well, that is the problem of the position or rank in the hierarchy. Closely related to that is the power that arises from the possession of property and institutions. When there is no property, power and form slowly fades out. Even collective responsibility for property can lead to squabbles and conflicts. We have taken precaution to ensure that our institution has no property of any kind. We have seen the new version are coming forward, holding the new visions of the living spirit of being. A new path of grace has been opened, which optimally maintains and enhances the best of what was before. When the system was sought to be misrepresented and the old wine is again getting served in new bottles, I pleaded for a cooperative and mutually assisting method of propagating the great system of yoga of our master. The myths of the superiority of the persons and the power of Pranahuti was thought to be exploded. To a large extent we succeeded in that. But the myth is that there can only be one enlightened realized person needs to be shattered, and that is possible only by dedicated efforts of many aspects. I am committed to not being that arrogant, unyielding, disempowering kind of person who founded the institute along with others. I know that I am on the parapet wall of a deep well, dancing my way through along the others, who for some reason consider me as more than charity. My running on the wall of the well, which is circular, is mainly to show that there is no one who can be considered as ahead of the others. I am aware of the fact that I am bereft of certain of the clear qualities of mutuality that are potential at least for all other participants. I am somehow seen as the original progenitor of the whole process for every person who has come to live in this path that leaves me terribly alone outside the homeland. Master is there, my friend leaves me not anytime. But the longing for human companionship is the basis of cooperation. Enlightened though we are, the journey is infinite, and new visions and wonders are there to be shared. This and that, this though has gone, that is a never-ending charm. However, I am at peace with that. I am very happy that the transitions that I observe happening in that the institute is now multi-centric and the development that is taking place is healthy for the near immortal status that is same. Now we do not make solitary decisions in many areas that ensure one form of consensus or another. Surely new demands for cooperation are upon us. I am not at liberty to surrender my stewardship of the work in any way at all that does not prove itself appropriate. That is part of the deed. But I want everyone to know I am very committed to getting out of the way. In reality, to make way for others to perform as I do at the minimum and perform better ideally and thereby serve the Master till eternity. I know it's my wish and my question is why not? Individuals are born, grow, decay and fall. The spirit of cooperation among individuals can be permanent. Individuality is transient, but mutuality can be eternal. That is, this as well as that may perish, but mutual will not. One of the illusions we have, despite all the odds, is notion that self is permanent in some form or the other. I have had occasions to point out that the self is a conglomerate and not an entity, and thereby try to also convince that pure and simple consciousness alone is truth. When trapped in a case it is called self or Atman. And when out of that, it becomes universal or Brahma. This clarification by Reverend Naraji Maharaj is very essential to be understood well and dispel from our minds all notions about the nature of self and reality. All of us have a notion that unity consciousness of Brahman, when realized, would bring us happiness. Really, there is a kind of happiness in it, or more appropriately, balancedness in it, that can be described as the fundamental wellness of being. Those who had experiences of unity, either in the presence of the Master or their intimate persons, must have also felt how painful it was. Many a time I felt leaving the company of the Master and stole out of his house, not capable of bearing the pain of unity, if I may call that so. And when I could, or perhaps was made to endure that pain, I found the horizons of the great awakening or realization. I propose to question seriously the myth that all teachings of Vedanta and other systems which suggest that realization means the experience of bliss and the end of all fear and suffering. We were told that we can and should remain identified with that absolute reality as a solution to the problem of human life, which in turn we were taught is a matter of wheel of birth and death in the field of joy and suffering. Most of the people have not taken seriously the matter to find out what is wrong with this world and nature. I present my point of view that this assumption is a philosophical necessity for certain systems. There is nothing wrong in this, that we should try hard to seek that. This dichotomy between matter and spirit, and life and death, or science and spirituality, or mind and matter, are all myths arising out of Cartesian confusion. No one can deny that life is an exercise in engaging ourselves ceaselessly in alternates between good and bad, pleasure and pain, and many other pairs of opposites. But what is wrong with that? That is the way of life, and how it should be. It has been so fundamentally and will always be. The dance of Nataraja used to be understood along with the dance of Shakti. The Narayana is inseparable from Shri. The awareness of the oneness of these two principles is the key to the understanding of the spiritual basis of all existence. Examining the notion of unity, we find that unity consciousness could only mean the realization of that which unifies all and everything. All our knowledge is sensate in origin. Meditation also, if you observe carefully, is tied up with the empirical sensory knowledge. That being so, there is no logical necessity to postulate the self. As Dr. K.C.Narayana puts it, the self is not known by any amount of sensory empirical, even when such an empirical becomes profoundly meditative and contemplative. We should also note that the sensory intuition or the jhana never went beyond the supersensory or more subtle sensory, but tied up to desired elements, central to persistence of the sensory empirical reality. Once this limitation on man's knowledge is understood, it is clear that the transcendent or non-sensory intuitive realization of the self becomes impossible. Nirvana, freedom from all vana or movement of the ego-centered desires, is surely experienced as a non-sensory empirical thing having non-negative characteristics. This leads to the awareness of that all things are relative and all non-things absolute. If this nirvana is to be equated with God realization, we have to answer how that realization could be only what is good and glowing. How could unity also not include everything else, like everything bad and evil? This was the dilemma of Buddhists and Advaitis. By insisting that realization means only perfect bliss, happiness and such other fairy tale endings. A notion totally unwarranted. They have found the only one way to resolve the problem is to declare the entire universe of opposites to be an illusion, a mirage, born of the unenlightened state of consciousness. If you persevere to live in this belief bubble that is self-reinforcing, there is probably nothing that would enable the any to come out of this illusion or Maya. Remember Lord Krishna warned that this Maya is difficult to overcome. Instead, if we accept this world as real, we will find that unity consciousness is only that awareness which includes all happiness, all suffering, and all that we call human and divine. This awareness then would be seamless, vast oneness that is balanced and integral to the core of our being. The omnipresence of the being is large enough that it envelops the entire existence of Jada and Ajada. It's all emptiness, all fullness. It is this consciousness that can embrace pain as part of the unity consciousness. This pain is crucial to understanding the original sacrifice offered by the Purusha when it veiled its manifestation. It is the same type of pain that is behind the Pranahuti. It is this pain of unity that is the most important aspect of our being that is waiting to be realized. It is because our entire being and indeed our entire universe revolves around this central point of sacrifice and derive all its power from the very ahuti that is done. The restlessness for unity is alive in us as the heat of aspiration, which is painful to bear, nor is it something that can be wished away. That is why Master says everyone will one day reach the goal. When we understand that the world is real and there is no need to deny it as Maya and agree that united consciousness includes pain, and if we as lions embrace that pain most courageously, we will enter into that unity consciousness. We will then learn to stand on our own divine strength that fuels us into divine action at the heart of our existence. It is from such a heart we radiate and live the life of eternal compassion for all beings from the core of that pain of unity. It is here that the will is strengthened and transformed as divine. And here we are truly alive. Working in consonance with the divine then is both endlessly sad and boundlessly delicious, and that is the true bliss where the pair of opposites get abolished. Finally we come to a state when we arrive in the truth of our being, serving the Master, or along with the Master, with a heart aching and paining, until all beings yawn and enter into the pain of unity. It is then that this and that are gone. But before that, each one of the aspirants has to enter into that state and participate with the divine in the great task of divinization of humanity.